Most people think the only way to retire early is to earn more money. They imagine a big salary, the right opportunity, or some bold move that suddenly changes everything. I didn't have any of that. I had a normal job, I had young children, and most evenings I was just as tired as everyone else. What changed my life wasn't a single moment. It was my exact 5 to 9 p.m. evening routine. Those few hours after work, when most people switch off, are what built my financial freedom and eventually allowed me to retire early. And I want to be honest with you about what those evenings really looked like. I'm Chris. I built a multi-million-pound property portfolio while working full-time and bringing up a family, and today I live on my passive income. But I didn't start here. I carried the pressure alone for years, and it took a toll. I learned the hard way, so you don't have to. When people talk about retiring early, they usually focus on the biggest parts of the day: work, income, career decisions. But the truth is, most of our lives are already spoken for. Work takes the day, family comes first. Life is busy and demanding. Evenings are different. They're quiet. They're the only part of the day where most people actually have a choice. And what you do in those hours doesn't feel important in the moment, but over years it compounds quietly. Or it disappears. I was in my late 20s when my evenings started to change. Life felt uncertain. I had responsibilities. And I could see that if I stayed exactly where I was, my future would be decided for me. I wasn't satisfied with that. So I went self-employed as an architect. That decision didn't just change my income, it changed how I saw time. I realised very quickly that my earning potential didn't stop when the working day ended. I made a decision early on. 5 o'clock meant my day job ended. I refused to shut the laptop, eat dinner, then reopen it to answer emails for someone else. Evenings were mine. I'd spend time with my children first, properly. Then, when the house quietened down, I'd start again. No news, no background noise, nothing negative playing, just focused work. Back then we didn't call it a side hustle, we called it a gubby job. Private architectural work, extensions, loft conversions. Every new client gave me energy. I wasn't chasing motivation, I was chasing progress. At first the extra money went on sensible things. Holidays, clothes for the kids, making life feel lighter. But over time something shifted. I'd renovated my own house and enjoyed it. And one evening I thought, I could do this again, deliberately. That thought arrived quietly, and it opened a door I hadn't planned for. I didn't realise it then, but this was the moment my evening routine stopped just earning a bit extra and started building the foundation that let me retire early. This is the part people don't always talk about. I was self-employed. I was putting money aside for tax, and instead of paying the tax man, I used it as a deposit on my first investment property. I didn't understand buffers. I didn't understand risk. I didn't understand resilience. Property investment drains your cash long before it rewards you. There were moments where, if one thing had gone wrong, I could have lost my family home. That wasn't discipline. That was drive without structure. Those evenings came at a cost. I didn't go out much. I lost friends. Relationships became strained. Burnout doesn't announce itself. It builds quietly while you tell yourself it will all be worth it later. Even in your 20s and 30s, Recovery takes time. With age, you gain perspective, and perspective taught me this. Striving without direction is dangerous, but drifting is worse. Recently, an old friend got in touch. Disciplined, in great shape, always has been. 12 years ago, I suggested he put content online around fitness. He remembered the conversation, but he waited. 12 years passed. Now he started, and he looks great. But we both know he could have been at the crest of the wave. Not because he wasn't capable, because time passed quietly. A few days later, I spoke to a much younger acquaintance and simply said, "Don't wait." Not as a warning, as encouragement. I don't want you to think you need to do what I did exactly. I don't recommend burnout. I don't recommend chaos. What I want you to understand is this: changing nothing changes nothing. My evenings weren't about working harder. They were about showing up, even if it was 30 minutes, even if I was tired, even if progress felt invisible. Evenings are where optional futures are built or quietly missed. If this resonated, like the video, subscribe to Path to Financial Freedom, and tell me in the comments what's one small change you could make to your evenings starting tonight. Because retiring early isn't about luck, it's about what you do when no one's watching. And for me, that was always the evenings.